Dr. Nicole Garner Scott is a financial planner and wealth strategist dually based in Atlanta and Miami, with offices throughout the country, servicing clientele nationally. Nicole takes a unique approach in her practice by helping people achieve financial security through holistic, integrative planning. By connecting the pieces of her client's financial puzzle and determining if they are working together in a coordinated strategy, she helps create their ideal financial picture and map out their legacy. With over a decade of experience in entrepreneurship, she believes there is more opportunity to serve by helping mitigate the losses through structuring a well-designed plan. Graduate of Georgia State University, Nicole is a wife, mother, and a member of AKA Sorority Inc. and regularly appears on CNN, Fox, NBC as a financial expert and holds licenses throughout the United States. Y'all help me welcome Dr. Nicole Garner Scott to Convos.
Yes.
Good.
And I hear that full accent.
every time, everybody like, you from New Orleans, huh?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome. Each and every week we bring forth entrepreneurs that are winning in their particular industry. And of course, we have a lot of things in common. We represent wealth. We love building community and helping people understand and build a different relationship around money. Tell me, what is your mindset around the entrepreneur versus once they start to receive money and they start getting money and they feel like, okay, what should I do? Who should I hire? Should I hire an accountant? How can I start building wealth? How can I start building wealth? What is your mindset? Like, how did you get to the place that you are now? Take us on a journey.
Well, first, thank you so much for having me on. Convos. I love the title. I love the name. I love what you stand for. I love how you're continuing to normalize these conversations as much as possible. That's something that I'm always a big believer in. And to answer your question, I would say that one thing that I notice with a lot of individuals who are creating and scaling their entrepreneurial ventures, their businesses, their practices, etc., is that people tend to forget to get the personal in order first before they transition into the business. And one thing I know for sure is how closely and how synonymous the two are. So you're not going to wake up and be this amazing individual as far as having your finances in order on your business side if your personal is falling apart. So as we're transitioning into scaling these businesses larger and larger, you know, many of us are getting global with the things that we're doing. I think that there has to be credence given to already knowing that's where you're going with this business and organizing your personal finances as such. Also, that's the full circle moment as we start to think about what we're doing these businesses for, the amount of earning potential. I think what's very important to remember is the more you have everything in order, the more that you're able to sustain and grow this level of wealth. The more that everything is all over the place, that's when dollars start going missing, right? When dollars don't have job assignments, when they don't have intentionality behind them, that's how you hear the stories of, oh, I made $1 million, I lost $1 million. I made $2 million, I lost $2 million. I couldn't even tell you where those dollars went. I couldn't even tell you because they had no intentionality behind them. And so that becomes very key and very important in regards to preparing for that. And then to just kind of coincide with what you were saying, as we are continuing to grow, that's when you have to start having the right wealth team around you, right? And so a big thing I always say is surround yourself with people who have your answers and not your problems. And so as you started in phase one, you had your individuals that could help you with phase one. They're like, well, girl, I did that too. And this is what I found out. And this is what I figured out. You know, here goes this YouTube video to help you with this, or I'm not really sure, but I think you can try that. You kind of scooted around in your first level. And by the grace of God, you made it to level 2 or you made it to level 3. But what got you there is not going to keep you there, right? So that's when you have to start making sure you have a full awareness of the professionals that you need that hold the licenses, that have the fiduciary, that, you know, are in their respective manners operating in excellence, to really start getting you to, they have foresight on you, on areas you don't even know are coming your way.
Right. Exactly. And I always tell people just what you said, like to sum it up and bring it back if y'all didn't understand, because we don't want to talk over y'all head, right? Because we are for the growing entrepreneur, because we've been there. Like you said, you have a decade, I have a decade. But I always tell people, number one, you're not going to magically know how to manage money just because you have more of it. We've seen that drastically change through the pandemic, right? We had so many influx of so many entrepreneurs during the pandemic, and so many of them are stuck now. They're saying, I need funding. How can I get funding? But nobody's going to give you funding, or nobody's going to approve you for more money if you are showing up on paper that you cannot handle the money that you have already. Your debt to income ratio is already overextended. Your credit scores have dropped tremendously. You're missing payments now. Your bank accounts are not looking the same. You're commingling funds, your business and your personal funds. You don't know what's coming in. You don't know what's going out. You don't know where your sales are being driven from. Is it from social media? Is it from word of mouth? If you don't have any systems and processing, you talked to Connie the other day about systems and her journey and how did she get to a certain place and, you know, start working with you and things of that nature. It does take levels. And sometimes people don't understand that the first level is not where you need to stay at. If you might have started with some first level people, but you're holding yourself back by sticking with the first level people, and you're supposed to be on level 6. You know what I mean?
I think to and 100% agree with you. And I think that in other areas of our lives, we recognize that so quickly, right? So it's like, oh, okay, on fitness, I got myself to where I know I could get myself to. At this point, I need to hire a trainer. Or if there's something that you're branding, you're like, listen, you know, I can't keep doing these word art pictures. I can't keep putting this together. This is not my level of expertise. You
Right.
have a branding expert that comes and elevates your brand to the next level. But the interesting part is, we have dealt with money our whole lives, right? If I ask you what was your first memory of money, you'll probably say when you were 2 or 3 years old and your uncle gave you this, or your grandmother did this, or you had a quarter and you saved that quarter. You have memories of money since early youth. So because you've been around money forever, you feel like you know money. And as you start to really dive deep into it, there's so many intricacies and it gets very complex. So you want to find those individuals who are studying this day in and day out. Even, and you said we're not going to talk above people's heads, but I like to tell
Bring them
you
there. We need to bring them there. Let's do it.
where we're going with it. I want to, and if there's ever anything that I say that you don't understand, at least I've agitated you enough to be like, I'm gonna go Google
Look that up. Yeah.
or I do need to know what she's talking about, and let me go figure this part out. Because I feel like it's enough people giving you basic information, right? Like it's in our communities, it's plenty of people that are talking to basic thought process that we already know. I want to come into with my voice and agitate the conversation on, these are areas you haven't considered. These are areas that you need to dive deeper into. You need to have these discussions. These should be happening around you. And just reminding you that there's so many levels for where this can go. But when we're thinking of the economy right now and what's going on in the economy, what are we doing ourselves to make sure we have some level of awareness in how this is impacting our businesses, right? So even if we go back to during the pandemic, when it was hard, the importing and exporting industries basically had got shut down, right? And just to make this very simple, for those of us who might wear like lace fronts or wigs or whatnot, all of a sudden you couldn't get your hair, right? And let's think about that. If you were in the hair business and you were paying attention to what was going on economic wise, that was, you had a moment to pivot. You had a heads up on, what am I going to do? Do I need to, you know, during this time get very creative on how I'm servicing my clients? Do I need to go into another industry and say that we're temporarily closed because this will be costing me more? Whatever that was. But if we're running businesses at high scale, 6, 7, 8-figure businesses, then a lot of this information that's around us impacts us on a day-to-day basis. And understanding that puts us in the levels that we can play this game for the long run and not just have an overnight business in that realm.
Exactly. And to that point, right, we were talking about, if we're talking pandemic and pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and during the pandemic, right, it looked great for business owners creating a business, creating a stream of income, or tapping into entrepreneurship. But we had a lot of hobbyists turn business owner, turn quote unquote boss, right? And if you don't know how to develop this plan, this strategy, and like somebody was saying the other day about you calling your business your baby and you nurturing it and you still trying to, you don't have 18 years to put into a business, right? You don't have all that time to groom it, teach it how to walk and teach it. You need to get with somebody that's going to give you a blueprint, going to give you a strategy on how to move, how to become profitable, how to use other people's money, how to reinvest into the business to make you more money back, right? How to measure your return on investment, how to plan for the future, how to plan your exit strategy. It's not just about starting a business and calling yourself a boss or calling yourself a CEO. It's way bigger than that. It's way bigger than taking pictures and doing campaigns and doing photo shoots. Is this business profitable? Can you afford this photo shoot that you're actually booking? Can you afford this team that you're hiring? Do you know what this team is coming in to do? Right? Is the team making sense? Is the team making dollars?
And I think that goes back to understanding your why. So I did an interview a few days ago, and the person said that a lot of people were telling her that the terminology generational wealth or legacy was just becoming trendy, or it was becoming overused. And I said, that's because we've gotten far away from what those words really mean. And so if you're creating this business for long-term wealth, then there has to be a very significant game plan in regards to how that wealth will sustain, right? So one, we talk about how do you manage the risk that are associated with this. So if you're bringing in this wealth, what are the main areas that could come in and impact this wealth, right? It could be economic changes that you didn't prepare for.
Right.
It could be not having an emergency fund in place to make sure you can weather through when life decides to life. It could be not having the right insurances in place to make sure that if something happens, that you have lessened the liability of what falls on you. It could be not having the proper paperwork in place. And so when it comes time for you to argue for your ownership in something, no one knows it belongs to you because there was never paperwork done for that. It could even be, having the right type of tools in place, benefits, etc., to make sure you keep good talent. That's a big part, just like everyone has exited out of corporate America, they're going to exit out of your business too if it doesn't make sense, if there's no value in that business. So when we're creating these businesses, how are we creating the atmosphere for our team and our staff and our employees to thrive as well, and not just keep working with you and keep bearing with you through the process? How are we really creating
trying to figure it out? Right. Nobody wants to be figuring it out in the figuring it out stage with you and you calling yourself a boss. Nobody wants to do that. Like, let's be real. You wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that. Sit here and say, okay, well, bear with me, y'all. Next year it's gonna be a little better. Bear with me, y'all. It's gonna get better sooner. People need to feed their families. People need to have solutions, right? We have to be solution driven. And it's so crazy because this morning I was listening to a Pastor Everett, and he was praying about he was basically talking before the prayer, and he said something about we have to learn how to be proactive instead of reactive. We can't wait until we go broke and say, oh, we need a plan.
And you can't, and also too, Dricka, you can't wait till you go rich and say that you need a plan. Right.
Boom. Vice versa.
Like, if we're just, talking through all levels of this, the most dangerous thing to do is to have to catch up to your own business. And so, if we're really building these large scale enterprises, then you have had already had to build the muscle, build the team, build the infrastructure before it gets there, or it will dissipate as soon as you get to that level.
Right.
So sometimes we'll say, Nicole, when is the right time to get my financial team in place, to get my accountant, lawyer, financial advisor, etc. I said,
Mhm.
you should be interviewing those people now. Because if we're very true about what we believe our possibility is with where we're growing,
Mhm.
then you don't want to have the money. That we call that the lottery effect.
Yep.
You never sat down and made a plan for what you were going to do once you received a large sum of money. That when you get this large sum of money, it's burning your burn rate. You're already burning through it while you're trying to catch up and figure out what to do with it. I,
Exactly.
I 100% already know where I was going with my life. And it didn't make sense to anybody else when I was putting these plans together and reaching out to people and putting those teams together. And when time allotted for me to be able to utilize those teams, I already knew who I trusted. I already knew who I wanted to use for certain areas. I already knew what their specialty was, etc. And so that to me is you praying with your eyes open. It means when after you're on your knees and everything, when you open your eyes, do you really believe this is where you're going with the business? And if so, then all your actions, your movements, the people around you, your circles have to align to that same level. If
Mhm.
not, then you're praying to God, but you don't really believe it though.
Hmm. You have that faith that's not really there. It's just like if it happened, oh, I knew it was gonna happen. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's what your quote unquote supporters are gonna do, right? They're gonna say, oh, I knew you was gonna make it
Mm-hmm.
after you made it, but while you was going through it, while you was getting it together, like we just said, nobody. They're like, she's still doing that. Let's see if she's still doing it a year
And
later. Let's see if she's still doing it
everyone
2 years
complains
later.
about their friends doing that and their families doing that, but to be honest, most people do that to themselves.
Yep,
You're waiting to see if you're going to make it. You're
yep.
waiting to see how it's going to pan out. And at this moment, you have to 100% believe that. So if I would definitely say with a good amount of my clients
Mhm,
that have reached a level of success, they're the first in their family to do such, or one of the few in their circles to do such. And it becomes the issue of who can they discuss these things with, because it's very limited on who's around them to be able to discuss that with. And that's why I'm very big on continuing to build that circle and that tribe for yourself. So even like what you're doing, Dricka, as far as continuing to have these conversations, for everyone who's joining on this live, connect with other individuals that are in that same brainwave, that same level
mhm.
of alignment that you are, because really true wealth is built communion in a communal
Yep.
way, right? When by the time you work with me, I'm also introducing you to other individuals that'll impact other areas of your life, right? So I'm connecting you with at least giving you referrals for CPAs when I see, oh, your books are all over the place. Or I'm seeing, hey, you're talking about legacy, but there's no will here.
Mhm.
There's no trust here. We're making sure that you're connected in other realms, but you don't even have to. That's that spirit of connectivity should happen in all areas of your life.
Right.
You should be doing that for other people. They should be doing that for you, and that's how you continue to get into wealth sustainability, is through that communal mindset.
Exactly. And that was a perfect segue because, like, I literally had a client ask me if today's Tuesday, and he was like, I want to get a will and a trust. I just want to move different. And of course, I have the same issue with clients being the first to do it, being generational curse breaker. But nobody talks about what a burden that is to the entrepreneur, right? Because not only are you a self-starter, not only are you the one that's coming up with all the new innovative ideas, you staying up on stuff, you got to create content, you got to build a team, you got to build a culture, right? We're not even talking about the HR pieces of the business. We're talking about the money side of it because that's what we're experts in. But how much more of a burden is it on you, the person that's the the curse breaker, the builder, the coach, the mentor, all of these things to all of these people, right? How much of it is a burden to you? But now everybody just sees the winning end of it, and they don't see how much, blood, sweat, tears, plans, strategy, investments, all of the things that go into it for them.
I tell my clients all the time, make me the bad guy. When everybody's asking you for money, say, "Oh, my,
Accountant
you know,
said no.
my financial team said, they've already locked my money away. They already said
That's
what it
it.
takes. Make me the bad guy. I'm the bad guy." And a lot of people's stories in regards to just helping them have boundaries for their future you. I know how deeply rooted it is for many of us to help as many that we can. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us suffer from what I call survivor's remorse.
Mm.
You grew up in the same way as your best friends, your family, etc. And for some reason you're very successful. And you know what that reason is. You really put in the hard work and you had clarity on it. But you feel this level of guilt towards those that didn't make it to your level. So you continuously allow your boundaries to be overridden. But what I tell people is you have to be accountable to that 60, 70-year-old version of you. So like
Mm-hmm.
even you, Dricka, as far as the 60, 70-year-old version of you, she is going to be even tougher than the version of you right now, right? As far
Mm-hmm.
as she expects out of life.
Right.
So in regards to that, you have a certain level and standard of living that you carry for yourself, for your family, etc. But it's not like you're gonna get to 60 or 70 and be like, oh, okay, now I could just
Chill.
sit back and live off a ranch and
Right.
just watch my stories. No, when we look at senior citizens now, they're fabulous. They're traveling. At least they're in a space where
They can.
and that they can, at least be around their family or see their family as much as they want to, or whatever that second half of life looks like, and what brings you joy. You don't want to compromise that. So sometimes you have to get into a space of saying no so you can take care of that future version of yourself too. And so that's why I tell people, make me the
It
bad guy in your story.
takes discipline. It takes discipline. It takes discipline. And story time, right? Just because you said that. I used to work before. I've been full-time entrepreneur for 5 years now, right? But I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years total, or probably a little bit more than that. But so my last job in corporate, I was a revenue cycle department manager. And we used to, well, our department was responsible for calling people, collecting the money before they come to their appointment. So we were collecting thousands of dollars. We was collecting millions of dollars a year for this company.
Mm-hmm.
And I was advocating for them to get raises. I was like, we're collecting millions. You can give us a certain amount, like not just a raise, some type of bonus, some type of commission, whatever. Like a party is, that's what kids get in elementary for notoriety. Oh, let's give y'all a cup, a badge, a pin. I don't want that, right? If I know that and not to say we're watching y'all pockets or not, because of course clients do that. Your company individuals are going to do the same. If we're making you this amount of money, we should be getting this, right? So I try to put things in place in my company because I didn't like that what happened at that company. So like that shaped
Mm-hmm.
me. Y'all can still hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
you want to take care of your.
I took what I learned in corporate, what they didn't want to listen to me do, and I added it into my company. Like I want to put more into the company to make sure that people have a great culture to work in. They get bonuses, they get commissions, they are able to become affiliates. They can do so much more. They have opportunities for growth. You can cross train. It's so many other things. You don't have to be stuck in a box. You are able to be here and make unlimited income, whether you want to work from home, whether you want to work in the office settings. We built the camaraderie here. Like I wanted my company to not just be, oh, that's just a tax office. No, we're way more than a tax office, and this is what we offer, and this is how we help our individuals. These are the return on investments. We've helped this many people purchase a home, this many people purchase cars, this many people fix their credit, this many people get their tax refunds in order, get their bookkeeping together, right? this many people create passive incomes, and this is all within just one company, right? And keep in mind, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So just from that place and being able to pivot from, oh, I'm an entrepreneur to, oh, I'm the serial CEO is a big change, right? When you see people make this change, you really don't know how to, I guess, act around them. And
Mhm.
me and my friend was talking, she on here too. We was talking the other day, and it's like, for us as that individual that's making a change and being the movers and the shakers, and then you just oblivious to other stuff because you so tunnel vision, or you so tunnel focused on what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're creating. You're not thinking, oh, this person might be envious of me, or this person might not know how to act around me, or this
Those
person might put me
are
on this pedestal,
all
right? It's all,
yeah,
for me, I think it's all an illusion because every person is a human.
it's totally an illusion, and those are all distractions. And that's what I said. You got to get very clear on what you want out of life, right? And once you get very clear on what you want out of life, then those wasting energy on any of those other things continuously reroute you from getting to your goals.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know that we're all human, and of course some of this stuff hurts, but if it's getting in the way of you and your ultimate goal, then it just can't be. It has to be a non-factor. And so, I'm in full agreement with you in regards to that. Just approaching what we're doing from a servant space, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're both here to serve. So I'm definitely saying after you meet with Dricka, you get all your stuff together, then you will come to me and we will talk about how do you sustain this, how do you keep it for the long run, etc. You have to have the ability of having all of those individuals around you, a full team to be able to bring that together in that ultimate way. But your circle, what you're feeding yourself, what you're feeding your mind, what you're putting in yourself, how you're using these social media apps, all these things play a big role in you getting to those goals, because the more you start to succeed, the larger the distractions are, the louder they are, the more frequent they are.
Yeah.
So people say like small things like this person said, or this person jealous, etc. I can't even wrap my mind around that. Like I'm sure with motherhood, a business that I'm scaling on a national level, and
Mm-hmm.
that last bit of time needed for me to take care of me, I absolutely have no time for any of that.
Thing.
Block. It's like block, 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 block. That's distracting from where the goal is right now. And also too, I learned very early in life that most of that stuff is not directed at me anyway. Like
It's so.
most people are projecting,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to how, if they have any negative thoughts and they don't know you as a person, and there's negativity that's formulating, that's usually just a projection. That's something that they're dealing with. So I'm not going to take that energy and apply it into my life. That's just you figure that part out, etc. Now if
Right.
I have wrong, right, because I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, we
Right.
all along this, and we're moving fast too, right? Like we're both ambitious women, so we're moving fast, so we're not going to hit the
Absolutely.
park 100 out of 100 times. I never will make that claim that every single interaction that I have is perfection. I strive for that,
Right.
but I'm human. Like I may drop the ball here and there. If I ever do something wrong, please alert me, allow me the opportunity to make it right. And then we can join and grow together. um, Also too, instead of us always canceling each other, it's a chance to counsel each other and say, hey, I did not appreciate how this business transpired in this type of way, and I'm letting you know. And that gives us all the opportunity to grow in that space too. But no, I'm a big believer in what you said in regards to just being able to help people in a multitude of ways, bringing that additional value, surrounding yourself around individuals that can continue to help you elevate. All of those are very key processes in this space.
Absolutely. Two things. You just said we live in this cancel culture, and I feel like The other part of that is we have to learn how to be better consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can make a constructive criticism to another business owner without blasting them or without, but as also the CEOs that's on here, a lot of business owners are on here. You have to have a plan in place on how to respond. You cannot put your emotions inside of it. You have to take your emotions out of the business, even though you're human. You have to have a way to respond for if things don't go right, if you drop the ball, if someone in your company drops the ball, because it all falls back on you, especially if you are the face of your brand, right? You're the face of the Money Plan Inc. I'm the face of Carter Capital. I'm the face of my personal brand. I'm the face of so many brands. So if something happens, and my team drops the ball, I still take full accountability because that is not what we're here to produce, right? So I definitely want your feedback. I definitely want to fix the situation and have the opportunity to continue to work with you and build with you. I don't want to be the person that you come to for a one-off project and you say, oh, well, she just does my
Mm-hmm.
taxes. But how are your other finances looking throughout the year? Because taxes is not just about tax filing season. What about the rest of the year? Tax planning season. What about bookkeeping if you're a business owner, right? What are your plans for the money that you're expecting to come in? What about your business projections? What about the next 5 years, the next 10 years? What do you plan on doing what you're doing right now? If you're a hairstylist, do you plan on being a hairstylist for the next 10 or 20 years? What are the physical, mental effects of being a hairdresser, standing on your feet, getting carpal tunnel, whatever, for the next 10 or 20 years? Versus you creating a plan, adding another additional stream of income, or coming up with what that plan looks like. Leaving us having a salon and collecting booth rental. Like it's so many different ways that you can still have your business and
Yeah.
plan your way out of it.
Yes. Dricka, I want to thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
It was such a pleasure connecting with you and being able to have
Yes, ma'am.
conversations. I've dropped my website below. So for those of you who are interested in having a full totality of that financial plan in place, would love to connect with you. As well as you can shoot me a DM and I'm very responsive. Dricka, please know that you receive your flowers now for what you're doing and how you're continuing to normalize these conversations. And I look forward to staying in true connection with you through this
Yes,
process.
ma'am. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day. Be sure to follow Dr. Nicole and visit her website if you're in need of her services. Thank you for coming to Convos,
Thank
and I
you.
look forward to speaking to you soon
You
again.
too.
All right. Have a good one.